I'm not mistaken, this will bring us somewhere near Srirangapatna. Plenty of sugarcane. You know you're in Mandya, the sugarcane belt. The sugarcane belt of Karnataka. Look at this. So there's traffic coming both directions. It's not the old highway, it's basically a service lane that you are riding on. Look at this. I'm scraping most of the speed breakers. Well, up until now, riding on this old highway is quite a pain. That is world class. This, unfortunately, well, goodbye Kannur. It's about 6:35 in the morning, and it says about 6.5 hours to home in Bengaluru. So while coming in, we took the Chandrayapatna route, and but while going now, we're taking the Mysuru route. But of course, we can't take the expressway, so we'll be taking the old highway. And I'm hoping that there's not too much traffic on the old highway, because of course everybody's going to be taking the expressway for the most part, barring motorcycles and three-wheelers who aren't allowed on the expressway. So I think if it doesn't really rain too hard on us, we should be home by, let's say, 1:32, give or take half an hour here and there. The leopard, the most elusive animal in the forest. They say you can, of course, very difficult to spot a tiger, especially in this weather, but they say to spot a leopard is even rarer. And they say also when it's raining, it's the worst time for animal sightings, because you know, there's water everywhere in the forest, in the deep forest, and so the animals don't venture out too much. But when it's dry, there are only a few watering holes that still have some water, and that's where the animals tend to congregate. And therefore, if you want good animal sightings, especially in this part of the country, you've got to visit in the peak of summer. Sir? Abhishek. So Abhishek here, he owns a shop. He also has tobacco fields. So he says tobacco takes 3 months to grow. So I said, do you then do 4 crops? He says no. If you only grow tobacco, what about food grains? So he says he does 1 crop of tobacco, and he does 3 crops of ragi and jowar. Wow. So he says everybody grows tobacco, what will people eat? Fantastic. Well, lovely. Nice to meet Abhishek here at Mayank Provision Store and learn about his philosophy. He says tobacco, I can take 4 crops in a year, but if I do 4 crops of tobacco in a year, what about food grain? What will people eat? So therefore he said he only does 1 crop of tobacco in a year, and then the other 3 crops are ragi and jola. Wonderful. It's always nice to meet people, talk to them, and know a little more. Also gives you an insight into the place, the village that we were at, called Pancholi, which is about 10 or 11 kilometers from Hunsur, en route to Mysuru. Lush verdant green with the garnish of yellow. That's the tobacco growing there. All that is mostly tobacco. We've crossed Hunsur and I think we're about 20 odd kilometers from Mysuru. The ride's been peaceful. I think this is a brilliant route to ride on, especially. I think the fact that we left at 6:30 in the morning made a huge difference. There's not that much traffic at all that you're facing along the way. We are now in Bellikere, very close to Mysuru. And as we get closer to Mysuru, of course the traffic is going to build up as the vehicles converge on the city. We're at a place called Palahalli, and I think we are bypassing Mysuru on this route. So we'll probably come somewhere on the highway between Mysuru and Bengaluru. It shows about 2 hours 20 minutes and roughly about 140 kilometers. If I'm not mistaken, this will bring us somewhere near Srirangapatna. Plenty of sugarcane. You know you're in Mandya, the sugarcane belt, of Karnataka. These sort of trucks you have to be careful about because they carry this concrete dust or whatever that's called. And one is it keeps falling out of it, and secondly, it can scratch your windshield, it can scratch your helmet visor, because usually they don't cover it. So as they bounce around on the highway, they keep scattering all that fine concrete dust or jelly, I don't know what it's called. Yes, I think we are at, if you turn right, we head to Mysuru, 15 kilometers. I think we are somewhere in Srirangapatna. On the Mysuru-Bengaluru highway, the old highway, since we're on the motorcycle, we won't have access to the main expressway. Welcome to historical town Srirangapatna. I wish there was some sort of a consideration for motorcycles on the expressway, especially large motorcycles. I mean, they can charge toll and things like that. So, and you could probably equate the toll with whatever a car pays. Motorcycles above a certain displacement, you know, it would have been just perfect to cruise on the expressway. I can understand slow moving vehicles and that kind of obstructs the flow of traffic on the expressway. It slows things down, but not motorcycles like these. Well over 100 horses, 1700 cc. But I guess it is the way it is. Mandya is 27 kilometers from here. Bengaluru home is roughly 129 kilometers. 2 hours 14 minutes. Just needed to stretch a bit there. That of course is the expressway running on top over us. Whilst we mere mortals will have to be content with the old highway. It's not bad at all. It's kind of pretty smooth sailing thus far. Well, you want to stop at Shivalli? Just take a break, man. I mean,
go ahead.
okay. Just told Bell that we'll take a quick break at Shivalli near Madur. The rest of the boys have gone ahead, so I'm not sure if they're going to be stopping there. But I just want to take a break there, just stretch your legs for a wee bit. We're making good time anyways, so we have time, and I just want to enjoy the ride. Some of the boys want to go home for lunch and catch up want to get home in a hurry, so I guess they may not stop at Shivaldi, but we'll see. That's the expressway right here. I did a vlog on the expressway recently where I drove my Innova, my Krista on the expressway. Great piece of work. From home in Koramangala to Mysuru, I took 2.5 hours, and that was brilliant. So if you haven't caught that vlog yet, that driving vlog, definitely check it out. If I remember, I'm going to place links in the description below. I saw a sign there which said 100 kilometers per hour. So earlier the speed was 120. I think they've reduced it on the expressway. Well, up until now, riding on this old highway is quite a pain. I mean, it's a stark difference between the expressway and this. So although of course most of the cars are on the expressway, but this has reduced, the old highway is reduced to more of a service lane of sorts. And so it's like driving or riding on a service road all the way. And there's also oncoming traffic. There's many speed breakers all over the place. The speed limit is about 40 kilometers per hour. So if you are coming on the old highway, it's not a very enjoyable ride. At least that's the feeling that I have until now. We've spent the last 15-20 minutes on this old highway. I mean, as you can see, there's speed breakers everywhere. So you're constantly shifting gears. It doesn't feel like a highway at all. This just feels like a service road that you're driving on. And the speed breakers are not the gentlest of them. So you have to be careful, especially on the Fat Boy. So this is a bit disappointing from my journey last time on the expressway to riding the motorcycle. Look at this, every 30 seconds or sometimes every minute there's a speed breaker, because they have all these underpasses and crossings. I guess the expressway bifurcated a lot of the places, so people need to get around, so therefore understandably they have underpasses in quite a few places. I mean, quite regularly. And because you have underpasses and you want traffic to slow down, you have speed breakers. But this is it. This is what it looks like. Personally, I would have preferred to take the Bannur-Malavalli route, but the boys wanted to go on this highway, on the old highway, and therefore we are here. Quite easy to slip into it, but slip into the expressway. But there's a board there. Look at this. So there's traffic coming both directions. So this is like a two-way street. I mean, how can you call this a highway? It's not the old highway. It's basically a service lane that you are riding on. Look at this. I'm scraping most of the speed breakers. There's a railway crossing that runs. They obviously couldn't cut through that, so therefore there's a bit of a deviation. Well, it seems to get a little better here because it doesn't feel like a service lane anymore. We are now in Mandya, so we are of course riding through the town of Mandya. Actually, riding through the town feels a lot better than riding on those service lanes. At least there's divided highways, there's a divider, there's traffic only in one direction. This stretch is a little pacey. We've just crossed Madur because this runs under the expressway and it's a barricaded road. So it's one way, there's no traffic coming in, at least for the moment. But there are too many of these cuts, intersections. So you have to be really careful. It's like I mean, you have to drive slow, you have to ride slow. Look at this. In less than 15 seconds there are 3 cuts. I think because we're passing through Mysuru town. The other challenge is because you know, this highway is passing through the villages and the towns, so the people still, although there's a highway, expressway, the way the locals ride or drive is still like how they used to earlier. And it's like, okay, fine, this is how we'll ride or drive, and you got to be careful because you have to err on the side of caution. You can't really get into a situation and then say, okay, but I was in the right and he was in the wrong. There's always something that you have to be careful about. Look at the speed breaker, my goodness. And it's quite easy to get carried away when you look at these fields, and all of this can very easily get carried away and speed up, but danger lurks just around the corner on this route. So if you are a motorcyclist especially, I would say be very, very careful on this route. And my personal choice would still be the Malbaldi route that passes through Halguru and gets onto Kanakapura road. I think for a motorcycle, that's the best route possible. This, up until now at least, from the time that we got onto this carriageway at Srirangapatna and we've just crossed Mathur, has been not the most pleasant ride. Hoping to stop at Shivalli and basically stretch our legs and also get a spot of something to eat. Finally, bad route, yeah. From Srirangapatna to here, terrible. I'm telling you, if you're on a motorcycle, that Halguru route, this is going to be like riding on a service road all the way. How many kilometers from Srirangapatna to here? About 20 kilometers, 30?
No, I think 30.
And we took what, 1 hour?
Yeah.
I thought this curd vada would hit this spot.
Exactly the same.
Some rave idli after the dahi vada. This is the dirtiest the fat boy has ever been. That was a good break here. We needed that. Break. Just keeping fingers crossed that we don't run into. Just bracing myself for the rest of the journey on the old Mysuru Bengaluru highway. But at least now we have our bellies full with the Mysore vada, the dahi vada, the rave idli, and also the kesari bath, and some good coffee. That is world class. This, unfortunately, is nowhere near that. The stretch from Chennapatna, where we stopped for lunch, to here, we've just crossed Chennapatna town. We crossed Kamath, Lokaruchi, Janapada Loka. I think this stretch has not been bad. It's been rather decent because this is the old highway as is, without the new highway cutting through it. So far so good. Keeping fingers crossed that this continues. The only challenge was a stretch from Srirangapatna to Chennapatna, which was really, really bad. Anyway, let's see how things progress further up. The roads that pass through town are broader than the highway that we encountered between Srirangapatna and Chennapatna. Ramnagara town. The sun is beating down hard on us. Famous Ramnagara hills in the distance there. Passing through another town. This is Biddi, the land of the Tatte Idli. I guess with the motorcyclists coming back on this route, perhaps the Tatte Idli business would have picked up to a certain extent. I'm hoping, for the sake of all the delicious idlis that one can find here. So basically my analysis of this old Mysore highway is that wherever the highway runs parallel to the expressway, those are the challenging stretches to ride on. Srirangapatna to Channapatna is torturous. It's absolutely slow in its pace. So many speed breakers. There's a lot of people cutting through. From Channapatna onwards, up until now, it's been okay, except for another stretch where we came back onto the expressway. But it wasn't so busy there. So if I were to sum it up from a motorcycle rider's perspective, it's quite torturous in certain stretches. I guess half of it at least. And the other half is okay. Some of it is good, but some of it is just about manageable. If you want to go all the way to Mysuru, I think the Malvalli route that cuts from Kanakpura road is probably the route to go. So you basically do the Kanakpura road, Kanakapura, you go to Halaguru, Halaguru to Malvalli, Malvalli, Bannur, and then you hit Mysuru. Well, we finally made it to Bengaluru. We are on Nice Road. Just got off at the Mysore Road, Nice Road intersection. And fantastic to be back. But the weather, the temperatures also dropped as we got into Bengaluru. The ride from Srirangapatna till this point was quite hot, quite strenuous, but happy that we got this ride. So all in all, I've done about 665 kilometers and another 25 kilometers till I get home, about 45 minutes or so. So about 690, 700 kilometers. I think that's pretty good for a weekend, 2 days of riding. So I think it's also time to say goodbye to all of you watching this Kannur motovlog series. I hope you enjoyed this weekend with me. A lot of riding, some food, some fun, some camaraderie. I'm hoping to do more such rides in the future. I hope you enjoyed this vlog series. Do let me know what was your favorite part of this Kannur weekend. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, do consider subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.